Hey everyone, welcome back to Poppin' In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Alexa.
I'm Molly.
And this week we're getting married again. Ba, 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 ba. Well, yeah. Skirt. That's what I did last week and found out that it was the wrong song. So, you know what? I will say a lot of wedding stuff is coming out like a month before my wedding.
That is really exciting.
Yeah.
You know what came out a month before my wedding? The Succession finale.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Those were, what a vibe. What a time.
I just really think about that a lot.
Yeah. Also, formal apology. If in this next month I'm not as on it as I usually am, which listeners will know, honestly, I'm not that on it to begin with.
Aww,
I'm like in full wedding mode of like trying to get it together.
Alexa's like, if you didn't know, I'm getting married.
If you didn't know, somebody loves me. No, I'm just kidding.
Aww.
Yeah. But anyways, so what are you popping with this week?
Honestly, I have not had time to pop in with anything. I am popping in with all of the stuff we're talking about today.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff that we're popping with.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of, I could do another Man of the Week.
Oh my God, throwback to like season 1 of the show.
I know.
When Molly's Man of the Week. Who's your Man of the Week?
Well, I already said this to you earlier, but I would say Matthew McFadyen. Like, I'm doing a little rewatch of Succession.
Cool.
A little, as if I don't rewatch it every month. But it's special because I'm rewatching it with Matthew. He's watching it. And there's just something
with your man of your life.
With the man of my life.
Yeah.
And there's something so special about, like, watching something with somebody for the first time on there. And, like, because I've said this on the podcast 1,000 times. I've rewatched Succession so much. But watching it, like, with somebody while they're, like, you're just paying attention more.
No,
and
it's, like, it's also just the greatest joy when you know they're going to like it and you can see them enjoying it. That's how I felt. I introduced Chris to Succession. I introduced him to Severance. I introduced him to Dairy Girl. Every single time I'm like, bangers after, all bangers all the time. That's what you get with Alexa, except for that time we watched Handmaid's Tale on a Friday night.
Yep, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
Not good.
I thought you were going to say James McAvoy, actually.
No, I just texted you about him the other day. It doesn't mean I'm popping in with him.
Okay, well, I don't know, whatever. I'm popping with the Forsyte Saga on BBC, or not BBC.
Oh, you like
PBS.
that?
I've been enjoying it. Yes,
Nice.
It's fun. I love a little period piece. You know me.
Yeah.
I'm a period piece bitch, and there's love. There's handsome people. I will say everybody. They do wear makeup in the show, and that does pull me out of it a little bit, where I'm like, okay. But besides that,
iPhone face.
Yes. There was someone I saw.
I'm gonna get into it because I think we're probably gonna both say it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, now I don't know who you're talking about, but
yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
was gonna say that there's somebody who I want to talk about today that had serious iPhone face that maybe wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
But we'll get into that.
Interesting. Well.
But yeah, I like our poppin' ins.
Yeah. Our main topic today is the drama. We
Yes.
mentioned we said we were going to go see it on our last episode, and we did, and we have a lot of thoughts about it. So if you don't know, the drama, it just came out. It stars Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, and the marketing is really interesting, which I'll get into, but here's what I'm going to say. My first peeve with this is people keep saying, oh, we're going to do a spoiler-free review or whatever. Like, we're not going to give away the twist. No. It's not the twist. It's the inciting incident. It's the thing. Like, go back to, no offense to everyone, sorry, but who's been saying this, but, like, go back to English class, like, learn what a plot is, the inciting incident, what the climax is, like, this.
I mean, you could refer to the movie as a whole as, like, a rom-com with a twist, but I wouldn't say, but like what I'm saying is, like, you know, when you say something with a twist, but I don't think you could call this situation the twist,
right? Because it is the situation. I think it only seems like that because the marketing was so purposefully vague,
right?
And that it makes me mad when people are like, well, I don't want to give away the twist. It's like it's the plot, honey. Like, yeah,
but I do think, okay, so, but again, that's where I say, like in a way, it's a twist, like, of that scene.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think something can be an inciting incident with a twist. Like, or that it is a twist. Because people go into it not knowing that that's gonna happen.
And that's why I also think, like, this movie, I think, is making decent money. I don't think it would have without, like, the star power behind it, because the marketing was so purposely vague. It was kind of like, well, we don't know what this movie is about.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they played it really well, but we're going to be giving away the twist, the inciting incident.
Yeah.
So, as always, if you don't want any spoilers, go follow us at Poppin' In Podcast, where we post our timestamps. They're also in the episode description.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm also saying, like, I think you could, in this scenario, call it a twist as well.
I guess. I just am getting mad at people who are giving reviews where they're like, well, I'll give my review, but I don't want to give the twist. And I'm like, well, then I don't want to hear your thoughts because the twist is the whole thing.
That is stupid. And how would you talk about it?
Yeah.
But think about it as, like, you don't want to tell people going into it what it is. And to me, like, then that's kind of I guess you could say shocking reveal.
Yeah, I guess so.
Go ahead.
But so if you don't know, it is about, again, Zendaya plays a character called Emma, and Robert Pattinson plays Charlie, and they're in the week leading up to their wedding, so they're doing kind of like these final arrangements. You get to see, like, you know, their beautiful little relationship together and how they met, and then they are having, like, the wine tasting with their two friends.
Who, by the way, I'm not sure why. Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you were looking up their friends' names.
No, I have it written down.
Okay. Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
I don't think that the people who made this movie know anything about weddings.
Yeah.
Have ever been to a wedding before.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was maybe there, I don't know. But I just am like, no, why would you bring your friends to a food and wine tasting for your wedding?
Also,
like, I've
why
never
are you doing
seen that.
the wine tasting the week before the wedding? Like, that's already should be secured and good to go. You know?
I was thinking that too, because I was like, you don't have it booked yet?
Yeah. And there was something else that I was like, wait, you guys are doing this just now? Well, I can't remember what it was.
I don't know about you, but, like, we did the food tasting and, like, at the booking. Like, that's where that's where you're trying the stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe not everybody, but I just thought that was kind of strange. I'm like, so to me, I took that as like, oh, y'all haven't booked the
Yeah, it was so strange. But so anyways, they're at this, like, wine tasting, whatever, with their friends Mike and Rachel. And Rachel, one of the worst characters I've ever seen in cinema.
Like, comically bad.
Yes. Like, horrific, like, you hate this person.
Yeah.
She brings up that they are gonna, before her and Mike got married, they did this thing where they told each other the worst thing they had ever done. She's like, let's do it now. Even though Mike's like, we agreed we weren't gonna, like,
yeah, first of all, fuck you for, like, giving, like...
She sucks from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
It's just, and so they go around, their stories, like, slowly get, like, progressively worse. And I'm gonna, like, just give a rundown. Like, basically, Mike says, like, he was with this girlfriend that he was, like, trying to break up with or something, and there was a dog that she antagonized. The dog started attacking them, and he used her as a shield. Not great, not the worst thing ever.
But she antagonized the dog.
Yeah, but she antagonized the dog. Then Rachel tells her story about how she was, like, I guess playing with this kid who was, like, clearly, like, autistic or, like, had, like, or disabled or something.
Wasn't her cousin?
I don't know if it was her cousin. I think
the cousin. Yeah, never mind. Yes. Ignore me.
It was just a kid, and she had this impulse moment to just lock him in a closet, and he starts screaming and freaking out, and then she freaks out and leaves him there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because she's left them there so long that they do a search party for this kid. They come to her house, and she still says, oh, I don't know where he is. And then people are like, did they ever find him? And she was like, yeah, I guess so. And even they're like, you guess so? You didn't, like, and she was like, no, like, they definitely found him. And she's, like, laughing about this. And it's like, you're listening to it, you're like, this is pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Then Robert Pattinson's character, Charlie, says that he cyberbullied someone. And he was like, well, they had to move away. And then someone says, oh, because of the cyberbullying? And he was like, I don't know, actually, if it was because of the cyberbullying. And it's interesting. I'm going to get into why each of those stories are also interesting to their characters.
Yeah,
but then, so Zendaya, she's kind of drunk by this point.
Yeah.
Emma, her character's name is Emma. And she admits that she planned a school shooting. And they're like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, like that's how she's deaf in one ear. And she's like, I was practicing with my dad's gun outside. Like, I had thought I was going to bring it to school, and I didn't end up doing it. And at first, like, Charlie and Mike are kind of like, ha ha ha, like, you're, like, kidding, right? Or like, what do you mean you planned a school shooting? And immediately, Rachel is, like, dead silent. And she's like, do you know how fucked up that is? You planned a school shooting? She starts bringing up her cousin who was in a school shooting and was disabled in a wheelchair because of it. And basically just, like completely just annihilates Emma for, like, this admission of, like, she planned a school shooting. She didn't go through with it. She never did anything. Doesn't ask any follow-up details. No. Doesn't try to understand anything. Just is immediately like, you're a horrible person. I can't believe it. And so then that's where the rest of the movie, kind of this moral dilemma, especially for Robert Pattinson's character, comes in, because he's like, he doesn't think, he's like, do I even know my wife? Like, you planned a school shooting? Like, and it is a crazy thing. But it's also like, this movie is such a good, like, what would you do in this situation type of thing.
And I think it was interesting, too, because what made the whole situation so much worse was that there were other people there.
Yeah.
Because I think if it had just been her telling him, I mean, they could have, like, worked it out together. Like, he could have maybe talked to her about it. But it was the fact that, like, Rachel was there and made it so much worse.
Yeah.
Other people heard it. So then, like, things unravel, gossip ends up, like it turns into a whole thing. And I think, like, and also now there's pressure on him to, like, are you sure you want to marry her? Like, how could you, like, and it, like, at one point, the one guy, like, wants to call the police on her. And it's like, what? For what?
He's like, I'll beat her up if you need me to. And it's like, what? And it's crazy. I'm actually curious if they had been alone, if it would have been different, because there's also a whole discussion with this where Charlie's character, or Robert Pattinson's character, is British and Zendaya's character is American. And they, you know, at one point, like, Charlie does bring up, he is like, you know, I mean, maybe it isn't that crazy, like, in America, like, you know, I feel like school shootings are happening every day, so it's not that crazy that a 15-year-old would maybe think about it or whatever, which I think is, like, kind of a valid point, but I'm curious, like, because Charlie's British, would it be different if he had been American? You know? I don't know.
Like, are you saying he would have thought it was better, or not better? Do you think he would have, like, not been as freaked out about it if he was not British, or you're saying he would have been more freaked out if he was American?
I don't know. I'm curious, because I feel like we have a thing, like, in American society where we're like, we are both so not destigmatized to school shootings, but, like, because, like, they happen often, but also because they happen often, we are also very, like, hyper aware, like, we are thinking about them more often and more, like, dramatically, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. And so one thing that was interesting, that we were having the conversation about the movie afterwards, and so I'm going to be honest, I actually saw spoilers before seeing the movie, and it's not my fault. People were just talking about it a lot. Like, and no one knew for sure, but there was, like, a rumor before the movie had even come out that somebody had heard, like, people were like, I hear it's about, like the plot twist is that, like, not plot twist, but, you know, the thing is that Zendaya planned a school shooting. And, like, everybody was like, I actually thought that sounded stupid when I first heard it. I was like, there's no way that's the real thing. Like, I don't know, for some reason it just, I was like,
Yeah.
And then it turns out, like, it was, you know, true, obviously. And one thing that, like, I had heard people kind of discussing, like, before seeing the movie was people were like, because I knew I was kind of reading reviews, and in reviews people were saying the spoiler. So I unfortunately, like, did read a lot of the movie before seeing it. But this is where, like, sometimes I think just because you see a spoiler, it doesn't necessarily ruin the movie, because other people's view of a movie, it can be so different from how you interpret it.
Yeah.
So beforehand, I saw people saying, like, because the whole thing, they show flashbacks. And this was the other thing, too, is, like, Robert Pattinson, everybody's freaking out. And, like, you have to, like, so from our point of view, we were watching it, and we came away from the movie kind of almost sympathetic towards Zendaya's character.
Yeah.
Because this was, like, a depressed teenager. She was, 15?
Right.
She was just kind of an edgy, depressed teenager. And I think a lot of people go through that at that age. Not necessarily they want to shoot up their school, but I'm sure a lot of people have maybe had, like, what do you call it? Like, intrusive thoughts. And of just, like, you know, dark things like that. I'm sure a lot of people have. And she was very depressed. She was bullied at school, and she planned to come to the school and do it. But then it turns out, literally, like, I think she brought the gun. I think.
She said she did, but I don't think she did. Because it's like a big rifle, so there's no way she could have brought the gun. And, like,
And, like, when she's planning to, news breaks out that another shooting has happened and people died. Like, people, like, other, like, students or, like, friends of students had died. And so she's seeing everyone's reaction to that. And in the reviews, people were like, and so that stops her from doing the school shooting because she's like upstaged by another one, so she feels like she can't do it. But then after seeing the movie, and, like, you pointed this out, I feel like it was almost less of that, and it was actually like she kind of saw how people reacted, and she was sort of like, it kind of humanized her and, like, brought her back down to, like, oh my gosh, like, this is real, like, look how people are reacting to this, like. and then she made friends with people and she was okay and she's fine now. And I think like that's an important detail that like maybe not everybody picked up on, but I think that that's sort of the difference is like, well, yeah, that's how she felt in that moment, but like then she saw the error of her ways and she changed and she's better now. And like but the thing is she
became a gun rights
and she became like an activist
against gun rights.
Yeah,
sorry.
And I think like what's interesting though is we're seeing those flashbacks, we're seeing like teenage her and we're able to sympathize with her, but like Robert Pattinson's obviously not seeing that, so that's kind of an interesting thing too.
So yeah, if you're not getting that context, because also like she keeps saying she's like, I planned a school shooting, and when you see the flashbacks, I get the vibe, I was like, I don't think she ever would have gone through with it, even if that other shooting wouldn't have happened. Like in her dad's speech, she talks about how she always loved to like perform and do theater, and she does this thing with Robert Pattinson throughout. Like whenever there's a stressful moment or whatever, she's like, let's like pretend we're meeting for the first time. Like and you can see when she's like in the flashback when she's like kind of pretending that she's going to be a school shooter, and she's like wearing this like makeup that's like running down her face and stuff, and like she's wearing like the camo,
and she's making these videos.
It's like she's in a character, and I think it's almost a coping thing. I don't think she was ever actually like, I just don't get the vibe that she would have ever actually done it.
And that's an interesting take too.
And I think like and you also like, nobody was asking her any follow-up questions. They're just like, oh my god, I can't believe you would ever like plan that. But it's also like people have intrusive thoughts, or like also when you're 15.
Yeah.
But that gets into why we were talking about like the different horrible things that other people had done, because I saw this like analysis where they were saying, you know, it's scary to the people who are around her because you realize that their horrible things are still within them. So you see like...
I want to shout out, because we probably saw the same video, but I think her name is The Sweet Pea on TikTok.
Okay.
That's who I saw. So who made this analysis. And
I think that was very true, where it's like Mike is still hiding behind his girlfriend who antagonized the situation.
Using her as a shield.
Rachel is just impulsive, like... doing something like making a reaction to something and not really following up, and Charlie is like, you know, also having a reaction and not really asking like follow-up questions. I saw in this one review actually, because I think people think that Robert Pattinson's character is like likable, and I actually was like, I think he sucks.
Yeah, for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I was like, as a, just like, what do you call it, like as a, what is he, her fiance, as a partner, where I just am like, anyways, where it basically, I think, was just talking about like how Charlie had never thought to ask his fiance like anything about her personal life. Like, you're getting married, you don't know that your fiance was like bullied in high school. You don't know that. And it's maybe she hadn't shared the school shooter thing, but it seems like he is for the first time asking her about her childhood, which seems strange. And it's like, it goes back to like, oh, I cyberbullied this kid and he like moved out of town. And it's like, oh, you never thought to figure out like, did he move out of town because of me?
Yeah.
You know, like, he just was like, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Like, he didn't think about doing it. And also, all of the things that all those other people did were tangible things. Like, Zendaya's character, Emma, just, like, thought about it.
Rachel was the one who actually locked a disabled child in a closet. That's crazy.
And if they hadn't found him, he probably would have died.
Yeah.
And he was probably having a panic attack. He was probably claustrophobic, it sounded like. Ugh. And I'm like, okay, so you did something actually horrible.
I know. I wanted her to get checked so bad. She was awful. Her character was so annoying.
And especially because, like, Emma works at, like, wherever she works, and Rachel's character, like, does PR and was supposed to do an event with them that week and wasn't replying to any emails. So then Emma had to tell her boss, like, I think we should find someone else. And then Rachel was like, yeah, did she tell you that she got me fired from that job? And it's like, well, you weren't replying for like 4 days or something.
Yeah. Ugh.
So I also forgot to say that this is from a director, Christopher Borgli. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But anyways, so this is his third film. He also did a movie called Sick of Myself and a movie we've both seen, Dream Scenario, which both...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Dream Scenario.
Yes, both kind of have these interesting, like, what would you do type of things. And
Dream Scenario was fun. I
enjoyed it.
After I watched it, I kind of didn't know how I feel about it, but now thinking back on it, it is an interesting plot.
It is. Like, it's very unique. And I think what's unique about this director is I think they don't do any interviews. And the only thing when you go onto their website is they have like a short about like it's the director, I think, like getting shot in Hollywood, which I think is interesting.
Getting shot in Hollywood?
Like with a gun shot.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I think is very interesting. Like they like to create these kind of like think troll internet pieces, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why like the drama is interesting as well. Like it's not even about whether or not the movie is good. It has created so much online discourse.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if you walked away from this movie not feeling bad for Zendaya's character and like feeling like Charlie was the protagonist. I mean, he's obviously kind of facing a weird thing a little bit. I'm not saying no to that. I think at the very least a conversation should have been had.
Yeah.
But if you didn't come away from this like feeling bad for Zendaya's character, then like you're psychotic, cuz
yes.
I was so sad for her, and like the whole wedding scene, like that's a whole other thing, but like the wedding scene, I just felt so sad for her.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, she's the only genuine person. You can tell, I mentioned this from the get-go, like on their first, or when they first met, what happens is she's at a coffee shop, she's reading a book, she goes to the bathroom, and he goes over, takes a picture of the book, sits back down and like reads up about the book, so that way he can come over to her and basically lie and be like, oh, I loved that book.
Yeah.
And it's like a very simple little thing, yes, but
it seems like a meet cute, but it's actually very like, that's like weirdly schemy and like kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And I think it's also like people have been also mentioning, so there is a brief mention in the movie about like, well, like school shooters or like shooters in general, mass shootings are usually like men, and Zendaya's younger character is like, actually younger women can do it or whatever. But there's not enough discussion, I think, about race in it.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this NPR interview where the person was basically like, I can usually tell when a movie was written by and for white people, but then they realize like they can get like a black actress to play in it. Because usually like they don't, they're not really addressing the fact that it's like, that does bring a different layer into it.
It does. I mean, I also just think, like, sometimes things add to the shot of, like, she is the complete opposite demographic of a school shooter. Mm-hmm. Like, let's be honest. And so I just did think that was, like, kind of interesting. Yeah. I think that added to the shock value of it.
Yeah.
But also, it is interesting that they didn't go into that more.
Yes. And I also think, like, I think, like, that also really plays into this idea of like when Charlie basically is like, school shootings happen here every day. I bet like people you're walking across the street like have thought about it. Like people have thought about it. And I think like it's really playing into the idea of like, yeah, like anyone could do this. It's just like a certain type of person to take it to a certain length, I think is like kind of an interesting way to think about it. And it kind of is just like an intrusive thoughts type of thing. I think I explained it to you also, like where, when you're little and you're like, I'm going to run away from home, and you like you pack a bag and like you get to the end of your driveway and then you're kind of like, actually, this is a really bad idea. Yeah. And then you backtrack. I mean, obviously this is like on a much higher, more intense level, but it's like, you're 15, you're a child, so you don't know, like, you don't understand, like, the emotional impact of things, and that's why when she finally sees it, she's kind of like, oh, shit, this is bad. Yeah. And I just also think, I would love to work in movie marketing right now. Yeah. I think they're doing some unique things. Like, so the way this movie is marketed is, I also think, like, a real key to its success, and so it's an A24 film. They didn't, normally it's like how you market a movie. It's like, okay, trailer comes out, press junket, premiere, like follow-up reviews, whatever, commercials. They literally made it feel like this like movie was like the people were real. So like instead of doing all of that, A24 like created a whole fictional world around these characters, Emma Harwood and Charlie Thompson, and then they started like releasing little like bits of, press or whatever around it. So it started with an engagement announcement in the Boston Globe, and it had like a lot of detail about them. Like it talked about like what Emma studied in school and like little details. Then it went on to Norman and Blake, which is a real wedding photography account, posted engagement photos of them like in character. And then on Valentine's Day, I didn't know this, they launched a website called charlieandemmaforever.com. It's a fully operational wedding website. It has an RSVP portal, engagement photography, a Boston travel guide for out-of-town guests, dress code guidance, FAQ section, like the fact that it's a phone-free ceremony, their story, like all of that. And I think, like, that, because, and again, it's all in the marketing, is, like, it was marketed with a twist, which is really interesting, because I think, again, if you didn't have, like, such big character, or big actors in it, I don't know if you would be able to, like, really sell this movie without explaining what it's about, because otherwise it's just like, what is this, a movie about a wedding? Like, you don't really know, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. I think what really stood out to me too about this movie was, like, the music, and also, like, the filming, the style of the way it was filmed. And also, I mean, it was very funny. Like, it's very, like, it's funny, but you don't get into the humor until, I would say, after the reveal is revealed. Because I'll be honest, when it first started, I was kind of, like, not totally vibing with the tone yet. Like, I didn't totally get it yet. Or, like, what it was trying to do. And then it was, like, after that, after the reveal, it was, like, so funny, actually. Like, there were so many funny scenes. And, like, but there's one scene where they have a video, like, a photo, like, they have a photographer, a wedding photographer. And, like, there's a whole bit, like, where she's like, first we're going to shoot the grandma, then we're going to shoot, and it's, like, out, and Charlie's just, like, inner turmoil, like, as he's, like, hearing it. But I want to say, like, honestly, I love this actress that plays her, Zoe Winter. She's from Succession.
And I know in The Materialist.
And she's in The Materialist. And but, like, in that, too, she really stands out to me as an actress. And I just want to say, I hope she's in more things. Because, like, she just always really stands out to me in anything she's in. She has this, like, big smile, like, this, like, big face, and she's just so funny.
She's good at doing, like, sarcastic humor, and I really enjoy that from her.
Or she just seems very, like, human. Like, I remember even watching Succession, as if I'm not 24/7 watching it, but she just always feels very real to me. But yeah, I walked away from this being like, I liked that movie a lot.
And you know what I think is interesting is it's gotten, like, mixed reviews, because I think the point is, I was asking you, I was like, what do you think it was trying to say? Like, what's the moral? And I think there isn't a moral. I think it's literally just to cause discourse. And there's almost, like, discourse within the movie. For example, they're walking down the street and they see their wedding DJ doing what they think is, heroin, I think, on the street.
Well, what do they keep saying? It's like she's smoking heroin.
Yeah, because they're like, well, there's a pipe and there's, like, tinfoil and whatever. And again, this is, like, a few days before their wedding, and they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And honestly, I'm like, I don't know. She came well reviewed. If she wants to smoke heroin on the street and she's still going to show up and do my wedding well.
I know. I'm like, was she good at her job? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm like, we're 4 days out. I got other shit to worry about.
In that moment, I was anti-Zendaya. That scene did pay off, though. That was funny. But, I will say, I was saying this, but I was like, the way that, I swear, the people behind this movie have never been to a wedding before. Yeah. Because I was like, in what world would it was like the best man was, like, the MC. He was, like, the one making the announcements, and, like, and now the groom is going to stand up and speak. Like, it was just very weird. I was like, that's not how a wedding works.
Also, in what world, like, it starts out with both Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, like, preparing their speeches for the wedding. I was like, since when did the bride and groom give speeches?
I've seen bride and grooms give speech. I took it more as, like, I thought it was going to be their vows.
Yeah, me too.
But it ended up being their speeches, so I don't know. But that was weird. I don't know, but I do think, like, maybe not a moral, but I think, like, it's more just, like, it poses a question.
Yeah. It's thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Which I think is more interesting than if they had tried to shove a moral down your throat.
Yeah. I think it's just a human thing. It's like, what would you do? I think what I would do is just be like, well, do I love this person? I love them for a reason. Let's talk about this. Let me really dive into, like, why you did it.
Yeah.
And if I know you and I'm marrying you, hopefully you know them well enough. I mean,
yeah, because again, one, like, they didn't do a school shooting.
Right.
2, they were 15, and 3, like, again, once you hear her story, it's kind of like, okay, you just sound like you're probably just a very dramatic, like, I don't know.
And that's why I go back to people's, like, because it's not so much that people were saying, like, oh, and you find out it's not because she decided not to do it. It's because another shooting, like, upstaged her. And it's like, well, that's not totally the case. It was actually because she saw, I mean, yeah, she didn't do it because of that. But then, like, she saw everyone's reactions and then she changed her ways. So it really, like, that context is important.
And I fully believe if that hadn't have happened, she still wouldn't have gone through it. It might have gone to the point where she did bring the gun to school and then, like, immediately realized, like, this is actually, like, I don't want to do this. This is, like, horrific.
Yeah.
Because you can tell, like, you see Emma as an adult. And here's the thing. Like, you think back to your 15-year-old self and maybe, like, you know, everyone's, like, emotional a little bit, like, whatever. But there's still, like, your core values are still there. And as an adult, she's, like, not like that. But I think as a 15-year-old, you know, she's also still not at her core a mass shooter.
Right.
I think it's just, like, she's 15. Her brain isn't fully developed. And, like, she's also probably depressed and miserable.
Right. And she's now in her, late 20s. And she hasn't done anything like that since. So I think, I don't know. I think I think we're maybe good.
I think if it were me, I'd just kind of be like, once we talk about it, like, whatever. And it's crazy because they have, like, Robert Pattinson brings up the hypothetical to his coworker to be like, what would you do? And she was like, I guess I'd call the police. And
call the police about what?
Yes. I told you it reminded me of Amy Schumer at the Oscars when Will Smith slapped him. And she was like, I was like, what do we do? Like, should we call the police? And it's like, it's people where I'm like, have you ever, like, been in the world? Like, what do you mean call the police for what? for a school shooting that didn't happen 15 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't know. For someone who had, like, a dangerous thought?
Right.
I don't know.
Something that they did not do?
Yeah, it's interesting.
But we did pose an interesting question of the week that we think is interesting.
Yeah.
So, and again, you can follow us at Poppin' In Podcast to answer our question of the week every week.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, this week we asked, what red flag would you not be able to overlook in a partner?
Okay. Do you know your answer, or do you want me to go first?
I think I know my answer. You can go first.
Okay, so we don't really get, like, political on this podcast, but I'm going to be true to myself.
Yeah.
If Chris came to me tomorrow and told me that he voted for Donald Trump, it would be a huge deal to me. Not only because we would be both, like, very politically misaligned in like morally and values, but also because we talk about it so much that it'd be like, okay, well, you've been lying to me for a long time.
Yeah.
But also when I used to, like, go on, like, Tinder dates and stuff, that was one of the first things I would, like, I wouldn't straight up be like, who did you vote for?
Yeah.
But I'd always be like that guy, that TikTok who's like, yeah, like, you know, your body, your choice, right? Or whatever. Like, I'd be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like if I found that out, I mean, we would be having a huge discussion.
Right.
The same thing here. Or if I think this is a, like, more medium red flag, but if, like, suddenly Chris's, like, top podcast was Joe Rogan, I'd be like, wait a second.
Yeah. So would you, like, if the Trump thing happened, would you call the wedding off? Like, if it happened right before the wedding?
Here's the thing.
I mean, I don't blame you.
Whenever people are like, we're going to call the wedding off, I'm like, you know what? I've paid so much money for this wedding. I honestly, I'd be like, we're going through with it. And then
afterwards
we're getting divorced or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I always think that with things with engagements, particularly. Like when people are like, I can't say yes. I'm like, just say yes right now. Don't embarrass both of you.
Yes, I don't understand that.
And then afterwards, like,
you have a discussion.
Yeah.
I think that all the time. And especially people who get left at the altar. I'm like, don't leave them at the altar. You have already paid your full bill.
Yeah.
You have just do it. Just go. It's fine.
Crazy. And also to waste everyone's time like that.
Yes, like that is, I think, that is a criminal act.
You
should get arrested.
You
should call the police.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, we had a very similar answer to you.
Okay.
I don't know. Mine, okay, so I feel like mine aren't, now that I'm, like, embarrassed to say mine, I feel like mine aren't as, like, grand or, like, big. Mine aren't, like, as important.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, I do think, like, I would not stay with someone who cheated on me.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. I've always had that. Like, I just wouldn't. Or, I mean, but, like, a red flag in terms, like, if they're, that's, like, a big one. This is a small red flag to me. But, like, if someone's just, like, if someone's rude to waiters or, like, people who are helping with something, and this is, like, a very particular one. Again, this is not on the same vein as, like, what we're talking about. But if someone is, like, if someone is talking to you and like a waiter comes by and like gives you something or does something for you and you don't even like look up and say thank you, I find that to be such a huge red flag, because I think it just shows who you are. Like, I don't know, like at some point it's like you're not gonna like look up and say hello, like they're people doing something for you. I don't know, I always think that's a red flag.
Even not just like waiters, just like manners in general, like you don't hold the door open for someone, or you don't say like please and thank you. It's just like, oh.
But the waiter thing is a huge one for me, not just for like men, but just in general, like if I'm with people and they like don't say thank you to a waiter, I get like, I'm like, oh, you, I don't think are a good person.
Well, I think I told you one time, like I flipped out on a boyfriend because, you know, I used to work in the movie theater and we got up after the movie to leave and he left the popcorn there and I was like, are you going to throw your popcorn away? And he was like, well, that's what the people here are for.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I was like, no, it's not. Like I was like, throw your popcorn away. They're getting paid $7.25 an hour to clean up after you. Okay, so why don't you make it a little bit easier?
You know what's kind of bullshit is when I worked at Water Country, I was a lifeguard. The lifeguards at the end of the night would have to clean the wave pool like all around.
Oh,
and I was
that
like,
wave pool is gross.
And I think about it and I'm like, we weren't like janitorial staff, we were lifeguards. And I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with that, but I'm like, that wasn't our job.
Yeah.
So on top of having to like guard people's lives, we were also cleaning, like that's kind of crazy. It's one thing to clean like the pool, like if you work at a pool, I'm like, I get that. But like we had to clean the whole wave pool. That's crazy to me.
That is crazy. That's a big, for those of you who don't know, it's massive.
It's massive. But anyway, so yeah, my main one is like cheating, or even just like I don't know, just like finding out that someone's cheating. I feel like that, and to me that's a red flag.
Also cheating, I'm always like, just break up with the person.
Right.
Like, just end it. Like, if you are, like, going to cheat on them, I don't know. I'm like, then you shouldn't be with them. Yeah.
I think especially if you're in your, like, 20, like, if you're anything older, I'm not talking about, like, when people are, like,
married,
I don't want to isolate people who are listening and they've cheated on their partners, like, in, you know, high school or college or whatever. Like, I'm not talking about that. Yeah. I mean, like, if you're, like, in your big age, you're cheating on your partner instead of just like telling them what the issue is or breaking up with them. Like that's crazy to me. And I don't think you can. I don't think you can get past it. I really don't. Yeah. I don't think you could trust that they don't do it again.
Yeah, you'd be paranoid forever.
So that's mine. So Liz said Republican.
Yeah.
And I was like fair, and very similar. So and then Matthew said planning a school shooting. But he hasn't seen the movie, so you know what? You don't get all the context, Matthew.
Because Chris said the same thing before he left, and I'm like, both of us were like, well, you don't know. You don't have the context.
Exactly. Yeah, Chris did say the same thing.
Yeah. Not that we're defending people who plan school shootings, to clarify. We're just saying, think, like, it's a thought-provoking movie.
Just think about it. Think about it before you do it.
Think about people in general. But anyway,
sorry.
So, no, go ahead.
It's so not something we should get into, but it kind of made me think, because I think most people who actually do it are psychopaths, I would think.
Absolutely.
So, yes. But it made me think, like, I'm like, has there been anyone who does it and then immediately they're like, oh shit?
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people do.
Really? I would hope not. Like, I almost hope that they just are psychopaths.
I don't know.
If they feel remorse, it's like, oh my God, like, how do you even live with yourself after that?
I think it's like almost, you know how when you're a kid and you're just like, oh, I'm going to put my hand on this hot stove and see what happens, and then it does? You know what I mean?
It's crazy to do something so so that's why I think, like, they must be mostly psychopaths. Yeah,
or just like, I don't know. And I think they were trying to plant that seed for Zendaya's character because they're like, oh, you've never been in love before? Like, you never knew what it felt like or whatever? And she's like, no, but it's clear she's not a, like, sociopath.
Yeah.
But I think they were trying to, like, plant that in there a little bit. Maybe. Which is interesting.
Okay, so this was gross.
This was...
But it's sort of related to what we were just talking about.
Yes. This is so crazy. Like, in both situations where in the drama where I was like, why didn't Emma just not say anything? Same thing.
So, Emma was drunk. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. And she was pressured to say something.
True. This, set the scene.
This was crazy. So the cast of SNL was on Vanity Fair. Like, they were doing that Vanity Fair video, how well do you know your co-stars type like game. It's like a little game thing. And Chloe Fineman, who, for those who don't know, she's been on SNL for a while now, like a few years. And I feel like she's not utilized quite as much anymore. But she used to be big on, like, she would do impressions. She was really good. She did, like, a really good Timothée Chalamet impression. She used to be...
She does the Jennifer Coolidge one. She does Ariana
That's
Grande
not impressive
doing
to me.
Jennifer
Everyone
Coolidge.
does Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah,
when
that's
people
true.
are like, hold on. I'm going to go on a tangent really quick. I hate when people are like, so-and-so is, like, good at impressions, and it's them doing, like, Britney Spears. I'm like, everyone can do that. Like, it's not that impressive anymore.
Can you do one?
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, if most people who do impressions can do that. I love when people do, like, Emma Stone. Like, that's funny to me. I'm like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, if someone does, like, John Mulaney, I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, but either way, she is very talented. Oh, one time she did Elizabeth Olsen, and I was like, that's crazy. Yeah. It was really good. But I feel like lately people are actually starting to hate on her a lot, and, you know, there's a few reasons why, but there is now a new, bigger reason why.
Okay.
So, she was doing, like, the How Well Do You Know Me? It was, like, her turn, and one of the questions was, like, how did I get fired as a camp counselor when she was 16?
Which is, why, it's crazy that she put this question on there, which means she talks about it regularly.
She has talked about it before. That's the crazy, somebody pointed out she's talked about it on a podcast before.
You couldn't waterboard this
I literally said that. I was like, you could not waterboard this story out of me.
On Vanity Fair. Anyways.
So she told the story of, like, how she was let go as a camp counselor. She pantsed a 6-year-old boy, and it was... So she said, he would lift my shirt all the time. And she goes, it was a different time. What are you talking about? First of all, you're only in your, like, 30s. So what do you mean it was a different time? He was 6 and you were 16.
Right.
And he would go like, hey, could I have a hug? And then he would lift her shirt. Okay, first of all, if he did that, you should immediately go and tell someone. Yes. So don't be a freak and try to get him back.
And you need to make it clear to him, like, hey, that's really inappropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
And you definitely should report
tell
it because,
someone. Yeah.
You know, out of context, someone would be like, hey.
Yes.
I heard that a kid saw your tits.
And she implied that, like, he did it a lot. So she got back at him they were on a hike, and she was like, hey, Ollie, go look over there. It's a hawk. And then he yanked his pants down.
She yanked his pants down.
She yanked his pants down. He wasn't wearing underwear. Yeah. So she exposed his thing to a bus drove by or something like that.
Yeah.
And so everybody saw it. And she, like, exposed his thing to everybody. And, like, that's how she got fired. She told it. And you can see everyone's faces, like, as she's telling everyone this. And they're all just like, oh my God, you should be on a list.
Yes, because the way she tells the story is also crazy, because she starts out, she's like, oh, like, I pantsed one of the, like, kids at camp or whatever.
Right.
And they were like, you pantsed him. And then she's like, yeah, he wasn't wearing underwear. And they were like, what? And then she is explaining the shirt off. Because they were like, why? She explains, like, he did the thing with the shirt. And then someone said, well, how old is he? And they were like, she was like, oh, he was like 6.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, with the more and more information, every detail, everyone's face is like, what?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it'd be crazy enough to be like, because the whole thing is that he wasn't wearing underwear, but it's like, you pantsed him. That's crazy.
You're like, what, 16, right? He's 6.
Yeah.
He plays a prank on you. I think maybe you're old enough, like, you don't reciprocate, much less by pulling his pants down.
Crazy for her to think that's a funny story.
Yes.
Like, again, you could not waterboard that out of me.
I think Vanity Fair took it down.
So they ended up editing the video, and I think they took that part out, or at least some of the part. But it's just like, what is wrong with you?
And I'm like, here's the thing. The only reason I know about this, sometimes TikTok I think is, like, bad for us. And sometimes I'm like, the only reason I know about this is because of TikTok. I tried to find news articles about it yesterday, and I couldn't find anything. Did you find anything?
So I watched the video. Those kind of videos always pop up on my, like, YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm a big YouTube girly. You know, I wind down at night, and I watch the shit out of those Vanity Fair. How well do you know your cast? Like, I watch every single one of them.
Yeah.
Because, like, I love those. And the SNL one popped up, and while I was watching it, I was looking at the comments, and all of the comments were like, oh my God, that camp counselor's story, like Chloe's story. Like, everyone was freaking out about it. And then I was like, oh, because everybody in the comments was like, oh, she's going to get canceled for this. And then, like, the next day. So I was actually, not to brag, but I did see it, like, pretty early.
You're like me when Timothée Chalamet posted that video and I was the 12th comment.
What?
It was 8 a.m. It was when he did the Marty Supreme promotion. I was like, wow.
I don't think you told me that. That's kind of a flex.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was like, he's definitely going to see this.
Wait, that's crazy.
I wish my comment had been better. Anyways.
What'd you say?
I was just like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Ha 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 ha. I was panicking. I was like, I have to do it now. It's like, more people are going to see it.
That's
Anyways.
So funny.
I don't think, here's the thing. That is a crazy story. Yeah. Highly inappropriate. I don't think she should be canceled for it. Do you?
So, okay, here, on top of everything, people already hate her.
Yeah.
She is a Zionist, and like there's just a few reasons why people don't like her, and so she's been canceled-ish for a while. Like when people talk about the SNL cast, like everyone will just be like, not her though, you know what I mean? Like everyone will be like, ugh, and she's here ruining it or something. Like people have not liked her for a little while now, and so I think this was kind of like the icing on the cake. Yeah, the cherry on top.
Yeah. And I guess it also is like, it would be one thing if like she did that when she was 16 and she's like, that was a crazy thing, I shouldn't have done that. But she seemed to be doubling down on like, it was a different time, like whatever, it was just funny.
Like she thinks it's funny. And I think that's what's weird. Yeah, is like again, if you did that, it's bad enough. And you can do stupid stuff as a teenager. But like that, like I just wouldn't tell people. Like I'd just be like, oh, that was a really bad thing I did. I'm never going to tell anyone. Hopefully it never gets out. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. And like, so to even just be like, here's me telling this story on Vanity Fair. Like, it's not as funny as you think it is, I guess.
And also, you know what? I'm kind of judging Vanity Fair for editing that and, like, changing it. Because, you know what? Vanity Fair, I'm a subscriber. Mm-hmm. I'm a monthly subscriber. I got my stack over there.
Yeah.
And I think that they are real journalists, you know? I think they are doing real journalism. And if you are going to edit something that you have already published, then you need to let us know. Why? Like, you need to put a disclaimer or something. And usually, you know, the rules of journalism.
I mean, it could be because it's about like child
maybe
abuse. So, you know, technically. So like I think like they could be maybe just taking it out.
Did they say anything about it though? If they take it out and they don't say like, okay, we did edit this video for sensitive content.
I don't know. Let's look.
Okay, yeah, let's look.
Let's go to the source.
I'm like raging against the machine.
Yeah. One of the comments is, the elephant address me.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they edited it. But they didn't say why. They did not. At least in the description. I'm not going to. Yeah. It's a lot of ads, so I'm not going to watch the video. But, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised she didn't take a little break this weekend. She was on there.
I don't think they let you take a break on SNL, I'll be honest. That time, Amy Poehler was like, I was about to give birth, and I went out and performed.
Her gynecologist died.
Oh,
she found out, like, the person who's supposed to deliver her baby, like, died.
She was, like, right about to go out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, anyway, I had to talk about that because it was so crazy.
It was so crazy.
Man. And already, like I said, people do not like her. She's, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe not a good person as it is. And I think, like, I was like, damn, people are going to really come for her now.
Yeah. I'm curious to see, like, if she makes a statement or SNL does or Vanity Fair or if anyone says anything about this because it's so odd. It feels odd enough that maybe you should just, like, say something.
Really? I kind of sometimes think, like, I hate to say this, but, I mean, if it's obviously... sometimes I am above the thing of, like, maybe just ignore it and, like, it'll go, like... you know, pretend it didn't happen. And I'm not saying that is the right thing, but I feel like that might be the smart move rather than sometimes I think apologizing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, apologizing is always like, that's like the right thing to do. But sometimes in terms of like, if we're talking like PR moves, I kind of am maybe like, I would just let it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's smarter to let things go away. Not saying it's the right thing to do, but it might be the smarter thing to do.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts, you guys. I'm curious what people...
But I thought I was like, dang, it reminded me of the drama when I saw that.
Wow, timely.
Okay, so we both watched the new season of Jury Duty, which was called Company Retreat. And so... here's that. I am weird. I did not watch the first season originally.
What? I'm curious. I probably asked you this already and I forget, but like what made you watch this season? Like why did you...
And I was going to get into that. Like the thing is like when something about the concept of season 1, like that level of like Truman Show, like deception to this like innocent man, like who it just felt so like cruel and weird to me. And I know people talked about it and like loved the show and like everyone said it was so funny. And, like, I love James Marsden. Like, I kind of was like, oh, that's interesting. But I just was, like, I felt bad for him. And so I just I didn't want to take part. And then for some reason, when the trailer for the second season came out, Company Retreat, I don't know what it was, but it just looked so happy and funny and just, like, wholesome. I just was drawn to it. And so...
when I was watching it, before I knew that you were watching it, I was like, wow, I feel like if anything we're going to get Molly into Jury Duty / Company Retreat, it would be this season because it is kind of The Office-like.
The second season?
Yeah. Because it's like at a company
mockumentary. I was like, well, the first season was mockumentary. But yeah, you know it did feel that way a little bit. Yeah, just something about it seemed fun. And I was like, okay, still kind of a cruel concept, but like I'm interested. Yeah. And so... weird of me, but I didn't watch the first season. I just started with the second season. You don't really need to see the first season. And I was obsessed with it. I thought it was so funny, but so heartwarming. And it took me completely by surprise how emotional I got at the end. Mm-hmm. Like, it just was so, it was so endearing to me. Like, I don't know. I was really, really pleasantly surprised by this show.
If you haven't watched Jury Duty, you as in the listeners, please, like, season 1 or 2, I'm just calling it Jury Duty collectively. Yeah. Please go do it. I was thinking about the other day, I was like, it is one of the most unique shows on television. And Chris and I were talking about this when we were watching it, because it first came out on Freevee, and now I think it's on Amazon. Where it's like, we really are, like, in such a peak time of television where it's like, let's do something experimental like this and see how it goes. Because, like, you know, if this were 2005, like, this show, nobody would be spending money to put this show on, like, a cable network or whatever. But because streamers are just like, yeah, we've got 7 billion shows, let's, like, sure, here's some money, let's give it a try. And it's like, thank God they did, because it's honestly one of my favorite, like, I forgot how much I loved the show.
It really is. It's one of my favorites now. And so the first season is about, I mean, for those who don't know, like, the first season's about a jury for a fake trial. So, and if you don't know, the show, the whole concept of the show is that everything's fake. Everything's like a made up, you know, in the first season, it's a fake jury for a fake trial. None of it's real. All of them are actors except one person. So there's one person on the jury who does not know that this is fake. And so it's like it's a social experiment, basically. But what's interesting about the way that, like, the format is that it is a mockumentary, but what I expected from it is that everyone would be kind of, like, in the background knowing, but they don't treat it, they go right into it. You, the audience, are watching it as if you're watching, like, a mockumentary. You're not, there's no, like, little hee-hees or like, there's no breaking the fourth wall ever. And so that was interesting to me. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was a little strange. Like, they were in character, and I guess they have to be, but they would do things sometimes for the audience that, like, they don't have to, you know what I mean? Because like, you know, the main character is not in the room. So,
and I think that's what brings it to the next level and also makes it funnier. Is like, is you have to, like, keep remembering throughout that, like, oh, he thinks this is real.
Yeah. And so that was what the first season was about. The second season is about the hero, they call him, was a temp named Anthony who's hired at, like, this hot sauce company. Again, it's fake. Grandma's Rockin' Hot Sauce. And it's like this family run company, and they're going on their annual corporate retreat. Yeah. And so what I love this season so much that I ended up going back and watching the first season, because obviously I was, like, now invested. And I gotta say, I think I liked Corporate Retreat better.
Really?
And I know that's maybe not a popular opinion. I don't think you feel that way. But I just, because I know you mentioned this, and I've seen other people mention this, that this season, I think everybody liked this season a lot, but I think some people were saying, like, the characters felt a little less authentic and maybe less natural. And I gotta disagree. I think the characters in Corporate Retreat seemed way more natural than, like, the first season had way more ridiculous characters, in my opinion. Like, James Marsden was so... like, I would have maybe caught on because of James Marsden.
Really? I always think that, like, having James Marsden in season 1 is so perfect. We were talking about this the other day, because he is, like, he is a famous enough actor to where it's like you'll recognize him, but he's not like Leonardo DiCaprio, so it's, like, believable.
And I want to clarify, like, so that's not what I mean. I just mean, like, the parts where he's, like, with because I do think that was smart of them to get somebody who's sort of, like, B famous, like, where it's like a lot of people know him. But the running bit is that he keeps thinking he's more famous than he is.
Right.
And so that is funny. I think when he's, like, reading the script, he's almost, like, just so ridiculous that it was, like, I don't know. I won't get into it. But there's, like, a whole thing where he's, like, reading a script for a movie. And just the way he's acting, I thought he was, like, almost a little cartoonish. And then there was, like, a very, like, neurodivergent character. And, like, just some of the stuff he was doing, I would have been like, there's no way this is real.
I think it felt more believable because it is a jury, so it's like, oh, you're getting people from all, like, sorts of weird backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I think when they first came out with the first season of Jury Duty, and then they were like, it's been renewed for a season 2, I remember Chris and I talking, I was like, how are they going to do a season 2 where the person doesn't know? It's such a popular show. And, like, also, I was like, are they going to do a jury premise again? Like, I think the concepts of both seasons are really creative.
Yeah.
I think for me, it felt less authentic in season 2, specifically because of, it's a company called Grandma's Rockin' Hot Sauce. The logo, I'm like, what company would have this logo? This looks like it's not it looks like a logo made for a TV show. Like, there's certain things throughout it that I was like,
what was interesting is I saw they had been running the Instagram for, like, the last 2 years. Like, if you go back, they have an Instagram that literally goes back 2 years, which is really smart because he could have looked them up on social media, obviously, and told people, But I think what was interesting about this season compared to the first season, I imagine was so much more challenging, was, like, the first season, they're all strangers. So, like, the actors, and again, like, for those who haven't watched it, like, the actors are in character the entire time.
Phenomenal
so even
acting.
Which is incredible. Yeah. Like, the improv level that you would have to have for that is insane. And so what makes it probably easier, though, is the first season, they don't know each other. They're not supposed to. They're strangers. They're jurors. So, but the second season, what's a lot more challenging is that these are people who are supposed to have known each other for years because they've worked at the company for years and they've gone on these retreats every year. And so, can you imagine how hard it would be to not only remember your character's storylines, but you also have to remember, like, other people's storylines. And, like, that would be so much more challenging.
I was also thinking about this. This is my shower thoughts the other day of, like, how clever the show is because both situations are, because you have to find, the way they find the people for each season, the hero character, is, like, they have to be basically, like, this, just a very nice, good person. Yeah. But not only that, they have to be willing to participate in whatever the scenario is. Yeah. So, like, the first one, he, like, thought he was legally had to because it's jury duty. The second one, like, I was like, what would have happened if he didn't, like, he decided, actually, I'm not going to do this job. You know what I mean? Like, they'd have to start over with a completely different person or something, so you're really banking on that. And I was trying to think of, like, what would be another scenario, like a forced situation scenario.
The only thing I could think of, and, like, I don't think they could do it because it's too serious, and how would they do this? But, like, the only other thing I could think of was, like, a prison. Or a jail, like, like, coming up with fake. But I mean, how dark would that be?
I don't think that
but
would be.
But that's the only thing I could think of where it was like all these. They wouldn't have a phone. They wouldn't have any access to the outside world except for, I guess, phone calls. Yeah. Because that was the interesting thing about. I don't think they should do that. I'm just saying that was like an intrusive thought of, like, that would be kind of interesting because they have, like, shows like 60 Days In where people they know they're being filmed, but that is a social experiment. They don't know that this person is not really in jail. Right. So actually, I guess they kind of do have that season. It's just the opposite. Anyway, but
okay, here's the scenario I thought of in my head, but then I'm like, because I do think, like, the prison one is good because again, you have to be, like, forced in the situation, but it's too. That's way too intense.
They do have a show like that, though, to be honest.
Oh, what if it's like a Vikings cruise situation where it's like you've won an all expenses paid trip to, and it's not like a big cruise, it's like one of these little cruises because each night you, like, are with an assigned table of people on these cruises that you get to know or whatever. Like, you're stuck on a ship with these people for, like, 7 days, and it's like they could be strangers. Like, why wouldn't you take it? Like, it's all expenses paid.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also, you can't, like, you'd be like, oh, I don't have any service, so, phone calls in or out.
I could see them going grander with the third season because it's, like, the third season, so kind of like they did with this season.
Yeah.
I think, that's a good one.
Who is your favorite character?
I loved, between...
Who's your favorite character season 1 and season 2?
Oh, of all of the people?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a hard time remembering their names. Well, I really liked if we're taking out the heroes, like the main characters, because I loved Anthony, and I really loved Ronald going back and watching the first season. He was so nice. And so, like, because I really loved Anthony, and I was like, oh, it's going to be hard to top that, even though, like, there was already a first season. But I really liked both of them. But as far as, like, the cast of characters, I really liked, what's her face? I can't remember her name in the first season, but she was the one that the guy was, like, ended up
hooking up with.
Yeah.
She was my favorite.
I really liked her.
And I think she's the most believable, and I think she is...
At first, that's who I was thinking of as somebody who I thought she was a little ridiculous at first. How would she be allowed to wear that to court?
Yeah, true.
Some of the stuff she was wearing, I was like, there's no way they would allow that.
I just feel like the way, like, she looked as a person matched her character very well.
Yeah, I think it was her look that I was like, she feels fake. Like, especially when they first showed her, I was like, oh, she seems like a caricature a little bit. But I ended up really loving her personality.
Hang on. I'm going to shut this door.
Okay. Oh my god, my allergies.
As soon as I shut it, she's going to come in, I bet. Oh, you tried to silence me? Big Poe?
A big P.
Yeah.
Continue.
Continue.
In the second season, there were a lot of... See, I think I liked more characters in the second season. They all were really likable. Whereas I didn't feel like they were all really likable in the first season.
Yeah.
But the second season, I was just so... I found all the characters so endearing. I did really like... I think her name was Helen, the older lady.
Oh, yeah.
I did like Dougie.
Oh,
he was
really?
funny. I don't know.
I felt like Dougie was a little too ridiculous to me, where I was like, I think if I were in that situation, I'd be like, you're interesting.
Maybe, but he became really close with him.
That's
so
true.
In a way, I don't know. Who did you like in the second season?
I really liked the snack guy.
Was it PJ?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I did like him.
I very much enjoyed him.
I think, did you see an interview with Anthony recently where they asked him, like, who was somebody that you were relieved to find out wasn't real? And he said Claire. She was the one with the, she kept putting sunscreen all over.
Oh, yeah, I did like her.
And I was like, I could see that. She was crazy.
Also, one of the things I love about the show is that, like, last episode they do the reveal and then they kind of, like, explain, like, how they did the show. And they did an interview with the actress who played Claire. And she's kind of very similar.
She was when she was in the tree, and she was. But I think she was being interviewed. She was like sitting on a tree. Yeah. Like, it was just weird. So one thing I still came away with questions even after they showed it. So I would like, okay, what is, and I imagine they are going to keep this maybe quiet just because they're going to try to do a third season probably. So they don't want to give away like how they do the casting process. But I am just curious how they do a casting process. Because first of all, okay, in the first season, it's like what did they tell Anthony's job after? Like, because, you know, you take off work for jury duty, but it's like, I think HR has to kind of get
Ronald.
What did I say? Anthony?
Yeah.
Ronald. I mean, how did they get away with that? Maybe he was unemployed, but like...
I thought he was. I thought they mentioned something that he was like maybe in between jobs or something.
Okay, then that would make sense. Because I was like, how did they get away with like telling the job, oh, sorry, that jury duty like was not real.
Yeah.
But also I was curious about Anthony because, okay, they obviously they had a ton of temp positions, like people applying, but like you have to find somebody with really good morals, obviously. Yeah. That's how like I imagine. But like I'm curious, like what were their impressions with Anthony when they first talked to him that made them want to hire him? Because I mean, obviously he's a very good person, but like it's a job interview, so you don't really know them until you hire them. Yeah. And I also, like, it also has to be someone who's not up on pop culture. So, again, someone who's never, and I mean, they made it seem realistic, but it was a documentary. Yeah. So, like, you would have to be like, okay, this is seeming crazy, and it's a documentary. Could this be jury duty? Like, you know, and I feel like also a lot of the actors.
Methinks.
Yeah, methinks. A lot of the actors, and granted, I didn't know the actors. Some of them looked familiar, but a lot of people were like, I couldn't be on that show because I would be like, that person was on Veep. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the actors are, you know, they're actors in things, in comedies and stuff. So, like, you'd have to find somebody who doesn't know pop culture at all.
Yeah. because they were like, we had like 10,000 applications for this like fake job or whatever. Right. I'm like, that's a lot to go through. I don't know.
But I imagine they're not going to reveal that because they probably are going to do future seasons. So they probably don't.
They have to. It's a huge show.
Yeah. But I can talk about it now, but I'm not joking. After watching that last episode, I cried so hard watching it.
Really?
It just really moved me. Like when it wasn't even just the last episode, it was the episode before it. So when they first are like, the whole thing is that this other company is coming in and going to potentially buy the company.
Yeah.
The redheaded cult.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is that like the dad is going to sell it to them and he's like literally about to sign. There's this whole thing where things keep kind of going awry, like that are kind of stopping the signing from happening. But eventually they are going to he is going to sign, and they find out, like Dougie and Anthony find out that like they claim that they're going to keep everybody, but they're going to probably fire like 90% of the workforce. And so they're going to try to stop the deal. Okay, I might actually start crying not talking about it, but like they're like running down the hill and Dougie's like, I knew it. And Anthony's like, I believed you. And like there's music playing because there's like a harp there. And it was just so emotional. But like I saw something recently where it was like some of the strongest emotions is like laughter through tears, and like that's where I felt like I was laughing but I was also crying, like because it was so funny. Like Dougie fell at one point, and he's just like go, and Anthony busts in. He has no skin in the game because he's about to leave anyway soon, but he's just like fighting for these people who he now considers like good friends. And I was just like, I was so moved by it.
I think he says at one point, he's like, I'm taking care of people who took care of me, and it's so nice. It's so nice. Oh my gosh. Wow. The famous non-cry. The person who in Hamnet was like, I'd rather die than cry.
No, I'm not kidding, Alexa. I cried so hard during that. Because like, he takes the pen.
I cry at heartwarming things more so too.
I do. Because like, he took the pen and he was like, first of all, father, like I didn't know you were a dad, but he goes from father to father, listen, like you have to listen to me. And he's like, he literally took the pen out of his hand and he was like, you can, after, just let me talk.
Yeah.
And then he does this whole speech. He comes out and like they're like, we're not gonna do it, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then they reveal it to him. And so what was interesting to me, another thing that I did want to like question, or I want to know more about, is just like, I'm curious like how, because some of the, because it was emotional and a lot of the people were emotional. Like the actors seemed really conflicted and emotional when they do reveal it to Anthony. And like, I'm curious like how they felt, because like this is somebody who like they've created this bond with and is such a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
And it's just like to lie at such great lengths. Like that kind of deception is like on like a human level, that's like crazy. So I'm just curious, like how did that like resonate with them?
I think they mention it like in the end a little bit. Like you can tell like some of them are really like like they feel really bad about it.
Some of them were crying.
Yeah.
And I think like because even Dougie like looked a little like he looked kind of sad, and I think it's because like I don't know. It's just it would be so hard to come away from that in that moment. Like Anthony took it really in stride. Like he seemed like he was kind of laughing. He seemed shocked, obviously, but like he was like, "Oh, like PJ, do you really not like do snacks?"
Yeah.
And he was like, and he felt like he had really formed a bond with Dougie, who he had like really like. I don't know. He just was such a good person, and I just can't, like, it would be really hard to lie to somebody who they all seem to, like, they really loved him and, like, really formed a friendship with him, but it's like they're not real.
Right. And I think it's tough because they, like, both seasons, like, oh, this person's clearly, like, a good person.
Yes.
And both seasons, I'm like, this person's better than me, because I'd be out here, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Well, you know what helped is, like, he was, well, I guess when you're a temp, you go to different roles, but I was going to say, like, he was working in HR, so obviously he has to be somewhat like professional. But they really just found people with just such good morals, because I was even thinking in the first season, like, they had to find that guy not guilty. Can you imagine if like Ronald had been like, no, I think he's guilty? That would have ruined the whole like show.
It's interesting hearing them talk about how they kind of like track out these different like scenarios or possibilities, but sometimes I think they've just like gotten such a good read on this person. They're really good at predicting what they're going to say. But we talked about this the other day. It's interesting that both seasons were men. And I'm like, I'm curious what it would be like with a woman. And I was like, I'm not to say that, like, I feel like maybe there's like a more naiveness to men, but I feel like as a woman, I'd be like, hey, am I Am I on a show?
I think women are more intuitive. I do think that. I think women see things in people that sometimes, I'm just speaking from experience, that like I think women
as a woman,
but also I just have noticed like women tend to see things in people more than men do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying men are like, not all men are like idiots. I'm just saying I do think like there's a more, you know, we always have to be on our guard. Like we have to be watching out for things. And
I'm ready to be killed at like any moment.
Right.
Usually.
But also I do think something about a woman being tricked just feels more wrong. I don't know. But it really shocked me how, because again, the season was so funny, and it really shocked me how emotional I got at the end. Like I really don't cry like that at things. And I was like literally bawling. Like, and I was like, oh my God, Matthew cannot come downstairs right now.
The saddest part though is like the length in between seasons. Cause it does take, you gotta like let the jury duty stuff fade. You know, you gotta like create 2 years of the
I guess
Grandma's
I've never
Rockin' Hot
that.
Sauce.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
Like create all these it takes a while.
Yeah,
it's like a Game of Thrones season.
But you know what else I was wondering too? Again, I have just so many questions about like the background. It's like, so they would show them, you know, at the end they showed like, okay, once everybody kind of went to bed, at the end of the night is when everyone would be like, okay, like great job everyone, like see you tomorrow. And I was like, what if Anthony got up in the middle of the night or something?
I think they have cameras on him like or out on his cabin or something. So like they would know like immediately if, you know, if he got up, they'd be like, oh shit, like go back in.
Well, I have more questions.
Okay.
So I assumed that he was told you're doing a documentary for Amazon, but it turns out he said, I didn't really know where the documentary was going to be. I just didn't like, I didn't know. And I'm like, so what if at the end of the thing, they were like, hey, you're going to be on this TV show on Amazon. Like, what if he were, cause I kind of think like, I'd be like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm curious, like, what would they do if Anthony was like,
here's what I think probably happened. I think it was probably like, he has to sign some sort of paperwork saying they can film him. I'm sure in the paperwork it says like, this is going to be for Amazon. You know what I mean?
So he just wasn't reading.
Like, yeah.
He
hopefully. Didn't read the terms and conditions, I'm sure.
Because I'm like, what if you're like, I don't want to be embarrassed nationally.
Yeah.
And I do think, like, unfortunately, I think with the con, they'd be like, sorry, you have to be.
Yeah.
They give him a nice check, though, so I think he's good.
Yeah.
And that was the good thing I didn't really know is, like, at the end, they do give them a fat check.
Yeah, I forgot because I was like, I hope they pay him for this week because he does think he's getting paid.
He was a temp, yeah. But he's set for a year, like at least.
He's
so
good for a while.
I think.
Plus whatever like promotions come out of this, and
that's true because he's doing like interviews and he's doing all this stuff. So I loved it. I don't know.
Also imagine like, because I'm assuming his family and stuff doesn't know either. So it's like, oh, like Matthew goes away for a week to do some job and he comes back and he's like, Somali, I have to tell you, I'm gonna be on Amazon.
I know, and that's the other thing. Is I mean we kind of said this, but the third season does have to be like somewhere where, because I mean obviously first season they are sequestered and that makes sense, and then the second season it's like they're on a retreat, and I don't think they really say this, but I mean I assume they have to give their phones away because they're on a retreat.
Say throughout they're like, oh, there's like no service, we don't, so they have their phones but like there's no service.
Oh, interesting.
Or something, so nobody's really using them.
Yeah,
that's why he can't just like call down when he's about to sign the thing and be like, don't do it, you know. There's no service.
Good point. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because I figured they had to, because, you know, at retreat, sometimes you give up your phone. So I assumed maybe it was that. But
I mean, maybe they did that too. I don't know.
I don't know. I loved it. I really am glad I watched it.
It's such a unique premise.
It is.
I love.
And it's funny in a way. It's not the most hilarious thing I've ever seen, but at the same time, like, it is so funny. And there's something really impressive about the way that they're able to, like, to improv and be on constantly, because they would show them in, like, you know, they're watching movies at night and stuff, and obviously, but I was wondering, like, what if he's sitting next to someone, he could see the ear, like, they had earpieces in their ears. So.
I think it's really hard to see, but if you saw that, for me, I'd just be like, assume they had an hearing issue, you know?
All of them? What if you saw it in all of their ears?
Well, if you saw it in all of them, sure, but...
I just was wondering how small it could be, because, like, I mean, what if maybe it's really tucked?
Yeah, I think it is.
Just curious. These are things I think about.
Yeah. That's why I think it's so fascinating to see how they do it at the end of each season.
Yeah, but I have so many more questions.
Yeah. God, I was going to say something.
You're right.
I was going to say, I think about James Marsden, though, about how, like, if I were him and someone was like, what is one of your favorite roles? It would probably be this, because it's like, how many actors get offered a role to be in, like, this kind of improv mockumentary style show where you're acting as yourself as a different version of yourself. Right, it's wild.
God, he's so hot.
He really is.
I would say, if I were him, I would say Hairspray, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, I love he has, like, this line. He's like, yeah, like, people are saying, like, I'm the guy from The Notebook, and I'm not even the guy from The Notebook.
I had no idea he was in The Notebook. I don't remember that.
Really?
Yeah. So is he her boy, like, the one that she ends up with?
No, he's the one who she's engaged to, and then she leaves him for Ryan Gosling.
Right. God.
I love The Notebook.
I know, I just haven't seen it in so long that I don't remember it being James Marsden.
That was one of those ones that I, like, burned through the DVD. You know what I mean? I watched it so much as a kid where I was like, this is love.
Yeah. I think I watched it a lot as a kid. I just haven't seen it in a long time.
But, yeah.
Well, okay, so what do you know about Alex Cooper and Alix Earle?
I know nothing. Like, I saw that you put this on here. I know friend of the pod, Emily, was kind of, like, talking about it in our chat earlier a little bit, and I wasn't reading her text messages because I was like, I'm going to let Molly take me on this journey.
Yes. It just happened today. So, again, we might have to do a little update here, but if you are listening, this was a couple days ago, but I'm saying this in real, like, this just happened.
Yeah.
So, Alex Cooper and Alix Earle have beef that is now very public, kind of.
Alex squared.
In a way. Alex squared. Yeah, and so I'm going to have to be saying the last names here because...
Yeah, call them Cooper and Earle.
Yeah, so for context...
sports team.
So Alix Earle had her own podcast called Hot Mess, and it was under Alex Cooper's Unwell company.
Okay.
And at first people were like, oh, that's the perfect fit. I've seen a lot of people be like, I'm just now finding out they're a different person. Because they look a lot alike. They're both, like, hot blondes. Like, they're, you know... big, like, they're big right now. Like,
they're named Alex.
Both named Alex, exactly.
Yeah.
I really don't like the way Alix Earle spells her name.
No, Alix. That's like if you named a cat Alex. That's how I would spell it.
I don't know. It's very, like, you know how some names are appealing to you when you look at it? That one's unappealing to me.
Yeah.
No shade. I don't dislike her. I just don't like the way she spells her name. Anyway. Yeah. And so, they seem to, like, get it, like, they were, like, you know, doing a lot of, like, publicity together and, like, photos together and stuff. And so it seemed naturally like a good fit that her podcast would be under that company.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden in 2025, Unwell dropped the podcast. And no one really knew why. And Alix Earle has, like, hinted that it was kind of a mess. And someone commented on an Instagram post asking what happened. And Alix Earle wrote, how much time do you have? And so, like, she's kind of subtly hinted at, like, things going wrong, you know, how it was a mess and it was messy. Fast forward to now, Alix Earle has been kind of very noticeably been reposting videos about Alex Cooper. Like, so she reposted this TikTok video where this girl called Alex Cooper an ambulance chaser and a grim reaper. She said, you just had the most horrific accident of your life. You're hanging on by a thread. You don't know if you're going to make it. And she's the first one there. Okay, that just sounds like a journalist to me. So I don't think that that's that crazy, but okay.
Also, she's interviewing people like Chase Crawford. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and I think also, like, if you're gonna, that's kind of a weird argument, because, again, like, that's what an interviewer does. Yeah, you are gonna interview someone at a bad point in their life or something, you know what I mean? And so she said she wants to be there when you're vulnerable and broken down and you're ready to sign over your rights to your life.
Yes.
And so Alix Earle was, like, reposting that video, and so people were noting it. She's at Coachella this weekend, and it was just, like, kind of whole thing. Like,
wait, Alex Cooper's at Coach? Oh, okay.
I mean, Alex Cooper might have been, but Alix Earle definitely was, because she's big, like, and she's posting a lot, and so she was reposting things about it, and so people are noticing and being like, oh, like, what's going on, like, you know, what went down? And I think people, I mean, we've talked about her a lot on the podcast recently. Like, I think people are starting to dislike Alex Cooper a little bit. Like, we've talked, you know, about how we've had problems with, like, how she interviews. I mean, like,
and then the whole Unwell Winter Games, people, like, they had a real issue with that.
And I think, first and foremost, like, she is a businesswoman. Like, and you can't deny that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think she's maybe a little cutthroat. Yeah. And maybe someone who's not a friend first, you know what I mean? But but I do think, like, first and foremost, she is a businesswoman, and like, you really can't deny that. And so today, Alix Cooper finally broke her silence, because I'm guessing she's being, like, tagged and stuff, and, like, you know, just people are really bringing, like, she's seeing it everywhere. And so she released a video directly talking to Alix Earle. It's just, like, her, like, and she's like, I don't engage in embarrassing stuff like this usually, but I'm just gonna say it. And she goes, Alix Earle, hey, girl, I've got to call you out here. You're going to need to get specific and just say what you've got to say about me. And she said, there's no NDA. No one is stopping you. And she goes, just say it yourself, because I'm really tired of waking up and seeing you using this fake drama to distract from other shit going on. And she goes, I'm, you know, like, she's like, I'm not interested. I know what happened, and so do you. So talk.
Yeah.
And she's like, unless the fake narrative that you're creating happens to be way more interesting than the truth, I have nothing to hide when it comes to you and me. So unless you actually have something to say, I'm out. This is over. And so she's like, come on. Like, and I agree with that. Like, if you're going to keep, like, stop being subtle, just come right out and say it. Like,
subtweet me.
Yeah. Like, we're both adults here. So Alix Earle commented and said, okay on it. And, like, put, like, she literally, it was, like, right before we recorded, too. She commented that. And so she hasn't released a video yet, as of right now. But Dave Portnoy actually, so he had this take, and he knows both of them.
Dave Portnoy always has a take.
He has a take. God. He's the T. Somebody called him Dave what's her name? Lady Whistle down? They called him, like, Dave Portnoy down or something.
Oh,
it was
funny.
But he was saying that when Unwell signed Alix Earle, she was already too big of a name.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. Like, you're supposed to sign smaller people when you, like, who don't have a brand yet. Yeah. And the thing is, Alix Earle already had a brand. So, like, we don't know what the deal looked like, but, like, you could already guess that it would end badly, because Alix Earle, like, she doesn't need Unwell. She's already huge.
Right.
And so it was kind of strange. And I know, like, Alix Cooper was probably her idol. She probably, you know, and they're very similar. And they seem like they would go together, but it makes no sense financially. Yeah. And so apparently, according to Dave Portnoy, they have the same PR agent, and he said he had all the tea. He was like,
Dave Portnoy and Alix Earle have the same PR agent?
Alix Earle and Alix Cooper have the same PR person.
Sorry.
And so Dave Portnoy said that he had heard that there may have been some drama over Alix Earle getting the Carl's Jr. Super Bowl ad, I guess last year. And, like, over Alix Cooper. Like, maybe Alix Cooper. This is what he was hearing, but he's like, it all goes back to Carl's Jr., basically. Right.
Carl's Jr.
As it always does.
Yeah. Honestly,
and so he thinks that it all stems from this commercial, and he thinks that Alix Earle was like, I don't need to go through Unwell to do this commercial. Like, I'm Alix Earle. I don't need to do that. But Unwell is like, we own your ass, so yes, you do. Yeah. And, like, the money funnels up to us. And so it could have been something to do that. I mean, we don't really know yet. Yeah. It sounds like Alix Earle is about to give us the receipts. Hopefully public. Keep it public. Yeah. You're doing it public, so let's keep it public. So. And so I hate when something goes public and then people try to be like, I don't want to engage in the drama. It's like, well, you started it.
Sometimes, again, TikTok is bad. Social media is sometimes bad. But sometimes I'm like, imagine if we had social media in, like, the Lindsay Lohan, Hillary Duff feud.
I know.
It would have been living.
Yes. Sliving,
yeah.
And also, I mean, great for us. We have a pop culture podcast, so it really benefits us.
Exactly.
But it's an interesting tactic, because now Cooper can hear Earle's side, and she can kind of think about her response and come back. So it's kind of interesting. But I do agree with Alix Cooper. Like, let's stop the hemming and hawing. Like, just come right out and say it. Yeah. And Alix Cooper needs to, too. Like, let's all just come out and say what the issue is.
And I think, like, Alix Cooper does have a track record of that, because I remember, again, when the when they broke up in the beginning, like, everyone was like, oh my God, like, what's happening? What's going on? And, like, you know, I go back to our previous episodes to hear, like, my more in-depth thoughts about it, but put it out on the record. It wasn't like, you know, they were like, okay, yeah, we've got to address these things sometimes.
Well, and something that Alix Cooper does really well that she did with her, and then she's also, I feel like, kind of doing with Alix Earle, is she just stays silent and lets the other person kind of spiral. Yeah. And, like, that is kind of a good move. You know, it's, again, I'm not saying I think she's cutthroat. I think she maybe is not you know, she's a businesswoman first and foremost. So I don't know, but I do think it's interesting. This was an interesting move for her to be like, I have nothing to hide. You say it. Let's get into it.
Right. And, I think also sometimes I think it's smart to do that in these situations where, because when we were talking about the Chloe Fineman earlier, if you didn't listen, go back and listen to our earlier bit, where sometimes it's good to just not address things, like stay silent, but sometimes it's good to, like, when it's something like this, it's, like, good to, like, put your perspective out there or whatever, because otherwise people are going to create a narrative for you.
Yeah, and I think, like, in this case, Alex Cooper was like, okay, I'm tired of seeing this bullshit. We know how it went down.
Yeah.
You say your side. What did I do wrong? Like, what was the issue? And I'm sure she was maybe the issue, like, or part of the issue, maybe. It sounds like it just was a deal that just, I don't think financially this was a good decision for them.
Yeah, that is strange.
I'm sure, what I mean is, like, I'm sure that Alex Cooper is not necessarily completely innocent, but it sounds like maybe she just was being a businesswoman, and Alix Earle, I'm not saying Alix Earle isn't as serious, but she's not, she's an influencer, and so maybe she just wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but
maybe I will be. If you see her response, text me and let me know if I don't see it first.
Yeah,
because I want to know.
I will,
and we'll let you guys.
Well,
know.
Yeah, and I'll let you know because for business reasons we'll have to like reconvene on this. So.
Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep you guys updated. Yeah. And each other.
Yes.
Okay. So this is another exciting thing. Euphoria Sundays are back. I didn't watch it on Sunday. I did watch it today, but okay, we're not. I don't know if we're gonna go through every episode this season, but
we at least wanted to start off.
Yes.
The season.
Okay, so if you haven't watched Euphoria, where have you been? Go watch it and then come back, because I guess it's gonna be spoilers, but like whatever. If you're on the internet, if you've made it to this corner of the internet, you've probably watched it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Initial thoughts, feelings, and conversations.
Disgusting. I can't wait to watch next week.
Okay. I thought it was boring.
Actually, I didn't think it was boring. I thought I was going to think it was boring.
Yeah. I was texting you guys in it, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of over, like, Rue's, like, drug story type of thing. But then towards the end of the episode, I was, like, a little bit more, like, intrigued or drawn in. But I did have to fast forward through.
I'm glad you said that, because I did, too.
Yes, there's, like, a scene where her and Faye are, like, having to swallow, like, the, you know.
Fentanyl,
like, the bulbs of fentanyl. I literally was like I was like,
so gagging. That alone was gross. Seeing the ball, like, that really, it not even just grossed me out, it really, like, upset me. Like, it's not real, these aren't real people, but I just was so upset by that. She had to put so much in there.
Yes. I was like, how could your stomach even hold all that?
And her whole thing was like, if it pops, you die immediately. And I was like, so what happens? Ugh, like, just the thought. I just was like, God, this is so upsetting. And then to make matters worse, people at work were pointing this out to me today. They're like, your two least favorite things happen within the span of like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is like because I guess I was confused. Why is it like about to come out? I guess it just eventually.
Yeah, like it's like you have so much in you that like if you're not like clenching, it's just gonna.
Oh yeah. So finally
this is a topic. I can't believe we're talking about this.
I'm like literally gagging thinking about it. But they bring her in and she has to like shit it out in a strainer, and then the next scene is them serving pasta.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, your two least favorite topics. I was like, yeah, that's true actually.
That's crazy.
It was gross. Oh, that was really, really gross.
Okay, so we were talking about, again, I think, like, I know Ruse is, like, the pivotal character, and I was into it more towards the end, her character, but I was like, okay, she's stuck on this wall, her car is stuck, and she's just, like, it was too long of a scene trying to get it out. I was like, since when was Euphoria purposefully humorous like this? Like, I don't remember it being like almost like a hijinks type of thing.
And I don't remember Zendaya's character. Like, I don't remember Rue being that
almost goofy.
And like, okay, so you know who she reminded me of, like, the whole episode? She reminded me of Natasha Lyonne's character in Poker Face a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Which is interesting because I think Natasha Lyonne is in this season. Yeah. But I thought, like, I was like, this doesn't seem like Rue unless I'm just remembering her wrong. And it has been a few years. Yeah. But I don't know. It felt very like she was more chaotic than I remember.
And I just felt like the first episode was so focused on her storyline. And her storyline now is one that it's like, okay, we're bringing in these new characters of like these pimps and whatever. I don't know these fucking people. I don't care about them. I'm like, why are the other characters not more prevalent in this first episode? I care more about them than, and now Rue's storyline is bringing her like maybe a little bit further away from the other characters, which again, I'll be honest, I don't care. I'm like, it was interesting in the first 2 seasons because it's like all these storylines really intersect.
Yeah. So I will be honest, I actually was surprised they even showed the other characters this season. Because you know how sometimes first episodes of a season will sort of do like a bottle episode? Yeah. And I thought they were going to do a bottle episode, and I was really not looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be a whole episode about Zendaya, about Rue in the desert and like doing these drugs, you know, being a drug mule. And I was like, oh my God. But then luckily they cut to, I think the next thing they showed was Cassie and Nate. And so I was happy at least that they did show other characters. I was actually surprised. But I do agree it was like very focused. And I think, I mean, you pointed out, you're like, I'm kind of tired of Rue's drug storyline. But honestly, the way they ended it last season, here's why I think I didn't hate the first episode, even though it was like not great and it was disgusting. I think they actually did do what they could because they really put themselves into a bind with the last season. I did not like the last season.
How did it end again?
So Rue is like, well, Rue, the whole thing is, Rue, like, owes this woman money because she took the drugs. I think somebody got rid of the drugs.
Her mom did, yeah.
Yeah, so then she owes, I actually thought it was Jules. Like, so in the flashback, it sounded like it was Jules who said she threw it away or something.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
But it did sound like she said her mom did. So I don't know. Anyway, I can't remember. But the whole thing is she now owes this, like, that creepy woman. She really creeps me out.
You owe me money, Rue.
Yeah, like, she's in
Fallout Season 2 and she's the same cadence.
People were saying, like, they were like, I would just laugh in her face. I'm like, actually, I think she's really scary, to be honest. She's, like, very eerie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't really know where else they would go from here.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, like, obviously they had to do a time jump because it's like, yeah, Jacob Elordi's clearly not in high school.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this earlier where I was like, okay, so we're now looking at, like, Nate and Cassie's relationship. And I was like, wait, they're having this whole discussion about floral arrangements and how she wants to do OnlyFans. And he's like, you're not going to do, like, OnlyFans to make $50,000 for floral arrangements. And she's like, well, I am. She basically is like, I am, or I'm going to leave you type of thing. Right. And he's like, no, don't, like, and I'm like, and I understand 5 years has passed, but I'm like, when we last left off, she was begging for his attention, and he kind of didn't really give that much of a fuck about her. And I'm like, if I understand things can change in 5 years, you've got to write something, like a line or something about how it's, like, tell us something. Because I'm like, this is a completely different relationship almost.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I saw a lot of comments about how they feel, like a lot of people feel like Nate's character, I said this to you earlier, but like Nate's character feels sort of softened, and a lot of people were like, I think it's like to protect Jacob Elordi's image, which is interesting because sort of similar with like Wuthering Heights, like people were like, oh, well, he played Heathcliff, and it was like, well, Heathcliff was a little different in this movie. So I do think like maybe that's true because, I mean, Nate was like really sinister in especially in the first season. I mean, but I do think I kind of don't agree because I think he is controlling. Like he's telling Cassie she can't, like, he doesn't want Cassie to work, which is like, you know, isolating. I think he has a darkness to him still that's just more subtle because he's like older now. And maybe he's being a little bit more similar to his dad. Like, yeah, he's not like choking her like he did Maddie in season 1. But like, I do think I don't think there's necessarily like a redemption arc that people seem to think that there is. Like, I don't think he was redeeming. I still think he was just like controlling.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, I'm like, and maybe they'll get into this, but I'm like, I don't understand why these two people would still be together.
I could see it. Like, they're toxic. They're, you know, I could see them staying together. It didn't actually surprise me that they stayed together.
I guess, but again,
I'm not defending Euphoria, but I think I'm maybe giving them too much credit, actually. But it also does make sense to me that they would still be together and I don't necessarily think we need things like necessarily everything written out, but I do agree with you that some kind of context would have been maybe good. But you don't know. Sometimes in the first episode, it does kind of drop you right into a storyline, and then they go back.
That's true.
So it could. We just don't know yet.
And I will say, I was thinking, like, when the first scene happens and it's, like, Rue, like, is in the desert or whatever, and it's, like, Euphoria, and it does, like, almost... And I was like, there is kind of, like, such a cinematic dream. You are in, like, an LA fairy tale in this thing. Like, or nightmare, almost, you know?
I said to you when the preview came out, when they were kind of showing, like, photos, I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of excited for this season because the, like, Americana vibe to it. Yeah. Also, like, with the third season, I feel like it's just grander now. They have Hans Zimmer, which we can kind of get into. But they do have Hans Zimmer doing the music now instead of Labyrinth. And so I do miss the, you know, previous music. I do think that made Euphoria.
Yeah.
I do think there is more of a cinematic feel to this now, and it's just like in the desert, and then there's a lot of color, and like it's interesting. But it was interesting to see the storylines now. So like one thing I thought about this, like when they cut to Sydney Sweeney, when they cut to Cassie, they mentioned that she's like living in a right-wing suburban area, and I pictured the premiere, like the Euphoria premiere, and like how everyone's people may have like laughed or like how they felt, because like Sydney Sweeney.
I also like I saw some interesting reviews about like the sexuality in this season, that people were like, oh, this is Sam Levinson just like giving like blatant voyeurism,
like his fet, like.
And I was like, I think yes, but I also was like, I do see the storylines from Euphoria originally were very like dark and sexual for high school,
right? So
I can see like now they're adults how it would be heightened to this level.
And I think, I mean, it is interesting how many of them went towards, because I think Jules' character ends up,
he's a sugar daddy,
sugar baby.
Or sorry,
And Sydney Sweeney's character is doing like OnlyFans. And I mean, her scenes were weird, like that, the doggy thing.
Yeah.
And they also showed a scene for like this season on Euphoria afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like one where she's like in a diaper and she's like she's wearing a binky. And I was like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I showed Matthew and he was like,
I didn't get the preview at the end. I was trying to look at it and I was like,
I don't know if it showed it at the end. I've just seen it online.
Oh, okay.
So they may have, HBO may have just like released it later. But Matthew was kind of watching. He had his headphones in, but he was like kind of watching. He thought they were still in high school, and he was like, "How are they getting away with this?" I was like, "They're not still in high school."
Yeah.
But it is Sam Levinson. You know, one thing I wanted to say is, so he mentioned that Angus Cloud would have like this, he tried to be respectful of, you know, Angus Cloud's death, and he wanted to make sure his storyline was respectful after he died. I don't see how Fez being in prison for 30 years is a respectful storyline.
When they said that, I was like, oh, that's how they wrote him out?
Like, I know, because it's not like they're going to, you know,
show him.
Right. Yeah. And that's like a terrible ending. So I'm not sure how that's respectful at all, but whatever.
Interesting.
I don't know. But I kind of wanted to talk about the premiere a little bit too. Did you see any of it?
No.
So it was messy in just like kind of a subtle way, but like that, I do think the set, like just everything is just like messy. But Zendaya left early, didn't take photos with anyone.
Really?
She did say hi to Sam Levinson. They kind of gave each other a little hug, and it looked like he was wanting her to like take a photo, and she just like kept going.
Wow.
She left. She said there was like a group of them. The other girls did take photos together, like Sydney Sweeney, Alexa Demi, Hunter Schafer. But at one point Zendaya comes up to them and she like gave Hunter Schafer a big hug. It didn't look like she said hi to Sydney Sweeney at all.
Really?
Yeah, so it's just interesting.
What about Alexa Demi?
I don't know. She said hi to Maude Apatow.
Okay,
but
interesting.
I didn't see, I don't know. And there was like a moment where Alexa Demi was doing an interview and Sydney Sweeney came up to her and everyone was like, and you know, they said hi and everyone was like, it looks like you're saying hi to that person that you're not, like that you don't like, that you're just like being fake with. And it's funny because they used to all be so close. I do think it's just like, whether they like her or not, I feel like everyone's kind of afraid to show her like
Who's Zendaya or Sydney Sweeney?
Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so for sure. But I also feel like Zendaya just got really burned on this set. I think she just was like, I'm doing this and then I'm done. Like, Yeah.
I'm curious, though. I want to know. I'm sure she will never reveal, but I'm just curious, like, what went wrong.
You know who's doing God's work is the woman who is, like, she's deaf and she lip reads, like, what people are saying on Red. I watch all of those videos, and I'm like, that is, in fact, what they are saying. Wow.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, like, it's not crazy, but I feel like you get more about, like, the relationships between these people.
I know.
Just these, like, passing little things.
Well, totally, because it's, like, it's just them talking to each other. Like, especially if there's, like, a couple talking to each other. Well, I mean, it's, like, they don't think anyone can hear them. So it's, like, it is, and like,
they can't,
intimate.
But you know what?
Right.
We've got inside sources.
We've got lips.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting watching this, though? Because I've been having doubts lately of, like, how I feel about Zendaya's acting. And I love Zendaya, but sometimes I'll see her in things where I'm like, I liked her in the drama, but, like, Challengers, I did not think I thought she was maybe miscast a little bit. I've seen her in other things where I'm like, I don't really like her acting. And I've been questioning lately, I'm like, is she a good actor? Sometimes I don't think so. And then I watch Euphoria, and I'm like, there's just something about her acting in Euphoria that is just so different from anything else she's in.
See, I thought she was fantastic in the drama. I love her in Euphoria. I think she's okay in Dune.
I do like her in Dune.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man,
Spider-Man,
I don't love the way they write her character, so I think that's some of it.
Yeah.
But I think we've always said I think she's better when she's playing younger.
Yeah.
Because I think she needs to. She looks younger than she is.
Challengers, they just put that fuck-ass bob on her, and they were like, oh, she's an adult mom.
And made her a mom, and I don't think she was believable. It felt like, sometimes it's like you watch somebody and you're like, I can tell you look like you're acting right now, rather than I feel like you are this character.
And I understand that Zendaya is, like, almost 30 years old, so she probably wants to play roles of, like, 30-year-olds. But I think we mentioned this on the podcast, or maybe we said it to ourselves, but I was like, Hollywood is not kind to women, and if you can play a younger role for as long as possible, like, I would do that.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's not, I don't know, it's like the way she carries herself sometimes in these roles where she's supposed to be, like, a fully grown adult, where I'm just, like, not believing it, even though as a person I believe she's a fully grown adult. But, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think, and it's kind of goes back to, like, if you watch her in interviews, she's actually, like, kind of immature a little bit.
Yeah.
And, like, and in a good way. Like, she's very, like, goofy, actually, and, like, she's got that laugh. Like, she's very fun. I do think, on the red carpet, she's serious. But I just think, I don't know, sometimes I just don't take her seriously when she's trying to be an adult or trying to be
I think it's a
older.
confidence thing. And it's not that she's not confident, but I don't think she's super, like, she's confident on the red carpet and, you know, but I think she's just, like, more, I don't know.
But I really like her in Euphoria. Like, I think her acting in Euphoria, because sometimes, like, again, when I have these, like, doubts, I'm like, well, she did win an Emmy for Euphoria. Did she really, like, she must have been, like, she was good from what I remember. And then it's like, I watched her last night and I was like, yeah, she is, just something about her in that show is so different than anything else she's in.
You know what? I think it's, like, the interiority of the characters. Like, for example, I don't think Emma in the drama is a bad person. I don't think Rue is a bad person, but I do think in Challengers, whatever that character's name is not a good person.
Was it Tashi or something?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like she is better at playing, I think, characters who have that sense of, like, interiority and emotional depth as opposed to someone who just, like, kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
And MJ, I think, is just poorly written kind of in the Spider-Man ones, yeah.
Oh, you knew her name. I'm actually shocked to hear that.
No, I love Spider-Man. It's the only, like, before it was...
That's true, yeah.
It was, like, I used to watch Spider-Man when it was, you know, Kirsten Dunst and stuff all the time. For some reason, I'm a big Spider-Man fan.
But you don't like the Tom Holland ones, do you?
No, I do.
Or you do?
I've enjoyed
okay.
them.
You do,
I will be seeing that one.
Yes.
I really loved Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I will say I think he is my favorite casting.
Really? I did at the time when I was, like, in high school and I watched it when it came out, but then now I look back and I'm like, I don't think those were very good. I think he was too old for the role, actually.
I think I think a younger version of him would have been perfect, and I think the movies aren't my favorite. I just think he is really well cast as Spider-Man. Like, I think he gets that, like, nerdy
the quippy
hotness,
too.
Quippy,
yeah.
And I think, like, where they had, what is it, Gwen? I remember being like, wait, what? I was like, you can't, what is the timelines with these love interests? I'm not reading the comic books. You can't, this is strange.
The timelines are very confusing with that one.
And everybody's blonde, so I'm, like, very confused about it.
Yeah, I did not like her blonde phase, actually. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I think Emma Stone's a redhead for sure.
Through and through.
Through and through.
Anyway, I think Zendaya is so good. How did you feel about, like, everybody else's acting? Like, did you feel, so I was like, is Jacob Elordi's heart in it anymore?
I didn't feel like his was fantastic. I think it's hard because, like, there's such big names now.
I know.
I think Sydney Sweeney's was okay. Like, they felt kind of, for the most part, on par with the previous seasons.
It did. I think because I've said this about Sydney Sweeney, that I sometimes don't think she's a good actor, but then there's certain things, like, I've always thought her acting on Euphoria, which was, like, you know, the first thing I saw her in, I thought her acting in Euphoria was actually amazing, and White Lotus, I thought she was great in. Those two things I thought she was very good in. And then watching this last night, I was like, yeah, she is, I think something about those characters, she plays very well.
You know who I feel like might have a limited career, though, is Maude Apatow. And I don't think she's a bad actress.
I know.
But I think, like, just who she is as a person, I do think there's, like, just very specific roles for her.
I think there's times where, like, I'll never forget when she was on the show Girls. When she was on Girls.
Who did she play?
She was in a later season, but she was one of Hannah's. Remember when Hannah became a teacher?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was one of her students, and she ended up forming this, like, really inappropriate friendship with her.
Yes,
and it was kind
that's
of, like,
right.
I remember watching that and, like, realizing it was Judd Apatow's daughter. And I remember watching and being like, wow, her acting is really good. She was very funny. She was very natural. When she's a kid and she's in, like, I don't know if you watch, like, Knocked Up or, like, This is 40, but she's so funny in those, like, when she was younger. And I sometimes think, like, maybe actors when they're younger are better than when they're older. And I do think now I'm wondering if she just, you know, she's good as Lexi, but, like, I do agree with you. I think there's only a certain type of role she can really play.
She has a small role in One of Them Days, and I think she's, like, good in it, and she's funny, but it's, you know, like, kind of like a privileged, sheltered white woman role. I don't think she's going to be...
Could she play a dramatic role?
Yeah. I don't know.
She was apparently in Cabaret, and I can't... She played Sally Bowles. I just cannot see it. Like...
I don't know what it's about.
I know, but I'm just... Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah, I do.
I was like, nah, I don't see it.
But she seems like a nice... Like, I like her as a person. If she ever listens to this, I want you to know, Maude, that... Are you there, Maude? It's me, Alexa. That I think, like... You know, I hope the best for you. I do.
She directed a movie recently. She directed her first movie that her mom is in.
Oh, I'll have to look it up.
And I'm curious how her directorial debut is. But yeah, I ultimately, like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm very excited for the next episode.
I will be watching it. Yeah,
I just missed Euphoria Sundays. That was my only time. I'm not gonna continue doing. Most likely, I'm not gonna continue doing Sunday nights because I just did it last night. But
it's me and Chris's time to watch things together, and he will not be watching Euphoria.
Oh yeah. Aww.
Yeah.
Well,
anyways, I guess we'll keep you guys updated on our viewing and pop culture as always. Please share this with your fellow high school friends if you've spoken to them recently, or if you haven't.
Oh,
you know what?
Euphoria, got it.
Yeah, let's get it.
If you're getting married,
shout out.
Shout out. Oh, yeah.
Shout out to myself.
I was just trying to connect it to the drama, but also you.
Also, if your name is also a variation of Alexa, Alexandra, share it with those people in your life. Anyone. We need more listeners. We're almost to our 100th episode, and we love you guys who have been here since the beginning, but we want more. We're very lonely girls. I mean, we have each other, but we want more. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Bye.